Testing, mic check. All right, I'm pretty sure I sound a lot better than the last video. I'm gonna be completely 100 with you guys. I've been in so much pain these past few months. It would make what Itachi put Kakashi through a walk in the park. Like seriously, being stabbed just 1,000 times for what it felt like a year, that's nothing. I'm in genuine pain. And I like to say that I'm really, really good at hiding it, mainly because I get to be in front of you guys telling you guys about the awesome card game that we love. I'm not even gonna cap, this feels really, really weird because I don't open up to anyone. I'm normally the guy that's just too strong, but strength isn't measured by your outward appearance. It's measured by your mental fortitude, your ability to be able to get back up that 10th time after being knocked down 9 times. And not only will every single time I get back up, I'm excited to be able to go through this journey and let you guys know more about me. What's going on with you guys? TheCaliEffect, the king of games here. Oh, I hate when that happens when I got my locks like this. You gotta fix my hair. And today, we're gonna be going over some of the secret techs that can help you win games in the April 2021 format. Now, the April 2021 format is not only riddled with combo decks like Rocket, Dragon, Link, and Tri-Brigade, you have your slower pace aggressive decks like Invoked and Eldritch to be able to worry about. And of course, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some cards that I have uncovered to be really, really good in this format. So good, you might want to consider playing it yourself against certain situations. So of course, if you want to see more videos like this, then be sure, I'm just going to level with you guys. I can't do the destroy thing right now. So I'm going to need you to destroy that subscribe button. Go ahead and punch that screen for me and go ahead and hit that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. I know what you guys are thinking, and it's not that serious. You guys are just, you're helping a brother out when he needs to help himself. So without further ado, let's jump on in and talk about these secret tech cards that can help you win some important games. The first card I want to talk to you guys about has found its way in select players' side decks, and they've been finding great success with it. Different Dimension Ground is a trap card that made its debut from the Star Strike Blast set, so this card is almost or probably 10 years old and is still finding uses in its meta. What this card effect reads is that this turn, any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. It feels like simple text is always the best text when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And this card definitely has it. Different Dimension Ground is a powerhouse in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game is because some of the top meta decks need to be able to use their graveyard. This card is especially good if you're intending to go against decks like Dino, Rocket, Dragon, Link, Invoked, and Tri-Brigade, but I'm actually just gonna call it BBW because you know how we like our girls here. This card can be an insane one-sided macrocosmos that can essentially shut off your opponent's turn, and if you are playing a graveyard-reliant deck, just don't send cards you want to the graveyard that turn. It's like having a quick macrocosmos which can disable some of the top meta decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And speaking of top meta, this particular card doesn't necessarily make its way into every top meta deck, but it is a card that is prevalent in a lot of decks because of its ease of summoning. Red-Eyed Dark Dragoon is a complete terror for a lot of players, especially if you're not playing a tier 1 deck, but there is a secret tech to be able to out this, and this card is actually really, really good and inexpensive. I feel like our very first Link 4 powerhouse in Brolo Dragon gets completely forgot about when it comes to countering cards like Red-Eyed Dark Dragoon. There's a few things that Brolo Dragon has over Red-Eyed Dark Dragoon. The first thing is that it can't be targeted by card effects, so your opponent can't out it with the effect of Red-Eyed Dark Dragoon if they summon it on their turn, but also this card can reduce the attack of a monster by 500 points. This effect cannot be responded to, meaning that Red-Eyed Dark Dragoon can't even negate Brolo Dragon. This card could easily attack over the Red-Eyed Dark Dragoon, but if your opponent has already used their ability to be able to negate the activation of a card, Brolo Dragon could take the Red-Eyed Dark Dragoon to do your bidding and then send it to the graveyard during the end phase of the next turn. Brolo Dragon is just an awesome Yu-Gi-Oh! Card that can out some of the most problematic monsters in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. It can also use those opponent's monsters that they summoned against them, so there's that for being unfair. Now, I feel that Brolo Dragon isn't the only Link monster that should see more play. Monsters like Topologic Trice-Bana is an amazing counter to your opponent's back row heavy decks like Eldritch. What Topologic Trice-Bana does is when a monster is summoned to where a Link arrow points to, you can banish all spell and trap cards on the field. And if you just so happen to banish cards using this card's effect, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each card banished. This card is amazing against decks like Eldritch because being able to banish their cards like Vaquero and Conquistador would prevent them from being able to set cards like Sanguine to their side of the field, which could disrupt their engine. And another cool thing about Topologic Trisbana is that it is a trigger effect. Anytime a monster would be summoned to that link arrow, you can use its effect during either player's turn. This card also comes up amazingly when it comes to time and you need to burn your opponent for that extra damage. Topologic Trisbana is fitting the trifecta when it comes to a good Yu-Gi-Oh card. Now, in my last video, I did talk about how Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon is one of the most powerful synchro monsters in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Not only does it win any battle against a monster with a level or rank, it can also negate the activation of effect monsters and destroy it. The only problem with this card is that it's really hard to summon because it requires a synchro monster and a tuner monster. But what if I told you that's not as hard as you think? While the Blazing Vortex set did give us more Wind Witch cards, I actually have to stick with just playing Wind Witch Ice Spell in your deck. What this card allows you to do is special summon it to your side of the field if you control no monsters. Then you can special summon from your deck a Wind Witch monster. The monster of choice you are going to special summon is Wind Witch Glass Spell, which will allow you to add a Wind Witch monster from your deck to your hand. From there, you go ahead and add Wind Witch Snowbell, which allows you to special summon this card to your side of the field by controlling 2 wind monsters and no other monsters on your field with different attributes. Now, if you old school like TheCaliEffect, you already know about this combo. Wind Witch Invoked was a deck way back in the day before Master Rule 4, so making a 1-card indestructible Crystal Wing to your side of the field isn't something new. But what if I told you there was more to it? On your way to making that Crystal Wing, you can destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field by synchro summoning into Wind Pegasus at Ignister, which actually has a really good graveyard effect when you synchro summon into that Crystal Wing with the Pegasus. It says if another one of your cards is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard to be able to spin a card on your opponent's side of the field. So not only were you allowed to make a 1-card Crystal Wing, you actually were allowed to be able to destroy an opponent's spell or trap card, and if they just so happen to have a response to any of your cards on your field, you could potentially get rid of another card on their side of the field. The only drawback to this Wind Witch engine is that you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck unless they're wind monsters. What was the attribute of all the monsters we were just summoning? This is perfect for any decks like Eldritch or Invoked, or basically any deck that doesn't need to commit monsters to their side of the field in order to get going. You can get a free Crystal Wing that's indestructible to your side of the field that your opponent's gonna have a really hard time getting over. Did I also forget to mention that this is your 5th summon? I know people like to count, so Crystal Wing would be your 5th summon. It can negate Mabiru. No, I know I just gave some back row heavy players a huge leg up in the metagame. Allow me to balance that by talking about a card that will help you bypass Crystal Wing and stop their back row. Denko Sekka allows you to prevent your opponent from using their set cards while it is face up on the field and you control no set cards. The thing that I love about Denko Sekka is not only can this card be used from stopping your opponent from using their critical traps, if you combine it with anti-spell fragrance, well, I mean, your opponent can't activate spells either. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is freaky, almost as freaky as the Dark Samorg lock, but I don't think it's something that you could main board unless you are going against like a back row heavy meta. Denko Sekka is a very powerful Yu-Gi-Oh card that has been used for ages to be able to stop opponents' back row heavy decks while also allowing you to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh unrestricted. And speaking of unrestricted, I have to get back to the restrictions again. I've talked about this particular card in a video before. I feel that Inspector Border is that jerk card. How Inspector Border works is that both players can only activate monster effects up to the number of types of monsters, Ritual, Fusion, Pendulum, Link, that they control on the field. So for example, if there's a fusion monster and a synchro monster, players will be able to activate 2 monster effects. Also keep in mind, a negated monster's activation does still count towards the activated effect due to Inspector Border's card text. Inspector Border is literally a walking combo killer. It prevents the opponent from basically activating monster effects, which you should already know is pretty huge. It also comes with a nice walking 2000 attack and defense body. This card is really good for anti-meta decks, or even decks like Shaddoll that can actually play around this because they can fusion summon before they have to commit monster effects. Well, that is all for the secret tech cards that we have for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was really fun to make. It's seriously one of those bright spots of my day to actually make you guys content, so don't worry about it. I just need you to hit that subscribe button. Let's get to that 100,000 subscribers as I get better, and then we get back to being too strong. So of course, if you want to see more content, then go ahead and check out these videos, as I'll catch you on the next one.